Ciao jewelry making friends, my name is Joey Balestrieri. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my work table. I am so excited because next weekend I'm going to a bead show and I am doing a project that's kind of utilitarian that I'm going to need to take with me for the bead show, and it has morphed into a second project. So this video is going to be a 2-for-1 special, and when I get dressed to go to the bead show I'm going to have a choice. So what you see here is this really gorgeous chain from a company that I met at this same bead show last year, and I'll show you the gentleman's card. It's called Purity Beads and it's simply puritybeads.com, and I just love his chains. He had a few beads, but mostly his booth was chains and findings, spacer beads, that kind of thing, and everything has an e-coating, so it's anti-tarnish. And aside from the quality, the chains are just beautiful. So this was like a chunky one that I had purchased, and I purchased it last year and haven't used it, but today it's getting used. So if you'll notice, this is an oval link and then a round link, and they are connected by smaller links and they're all solid. So what I'm doing with this, I am going to have to make some cuts, and I hope it won't be too difficult to cut because most of his chains were a beautiful brass base metal, not just the fashion jewelry base metal, and then plated and coated. And I have just loved the chains and the spacers and things that I purchased last year at this show. So what this is going to be is a holder for my eyeglasses, and I didn't want to do one of the ones with the little silicone like loops on the ends. I wanted it to be an eyeglass necklace, if you will. And so I've already checked, and my eyeglasses fit in the round rings on this really nicely, and they also fit in the oval rings. So when I make my necklace, it's going to work that way. But of course I have to do something fancy with it. So I have out here one carrier bead. I have these, I found these on Potomac Beads, these beautiful 2-hole oblong crystals. They're called long ovals on their website. They have navettes and they have some like rectangular ones. Let's see, I just did an order. I'll share the codes with you, and I can even link these in the description box below, but that's what it looks like. And they had like a special, and I just bought a lot of colors, emerald green, and they had these beautiful green opals and this violet one. So I'll link these below when you see what I'm going to do with it if you're interested. I know some people use these in bead weaving projects, but I am just going to use it to create a beautiful drop down to the ring that's going to hold my eyeglasses. So the first thing that I'm going to do, and I've already done this before I started filming, I put a little piece of wire on the links that I'm going to have to cut just to mark them. So this link, I'm going to have to lose it for the back, and then these two solid links on this chain will be where I add in my clasp. And I just have this beautiful chunky gold filled clasp, and this was like a set that I got from Amazon. And if I'm making a special gift or something for myself that I really want to keep in my wardrobe, I'll pull out one of these higher quality clasps. And I also have some gold filled jump rings here as well. So this piece will just have a lot of quality metals in it. And I don't have an eyeglass holder necklace, and I wanted to create something that I could wear to the show and have my eyeglasses hanging right in the front of me, and also maybe layer in some other necklaces with it. So that's going to lead me into my second project. But if you'll notice here, I have my little wires on these two links. So I have to cut these two links. And the reason I'm doing that, they are solid, so I'm going to have to remove those. And I want to make this little section here with the two oval links my connection point. So let me get some heavy duty cutters. I have these giant cutters, and I'm going to just see, hopefully this won't be too difficult. Let me see. Oh, not bad at all. Not bad at all. And of course, I'm going to save this link because it could be useful for earrings. Once I've cut a link, I mean, it's pretty sturdy, and as I said, I don't know, you probably can't see, but this has a brass base to it, so I will definitely save that. And then I have to do the same thing on this side. Just remove that. And I also am going to need, let's see, I'm finishing on an oval. I'm also going to need to cut, I need a round link, and I want it solid. I'm not going to use one that I cut. So that's going to be the part that holds my eyeglasses. So I'm just doing a little surgery on this beautiful chain. It's so beautiful, like the quality is so great, and I hope that he is at the show again this year, because that is one of the things on my wish list, is to buy more chain. There's a couple of sellers that I hope are there again. So I think that since my necklace is going to end here with 2 oval links, I think that I want my eyeglass to go into the round link. Pretty sure that's going to work. Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to lose another one of these small oval connectors in this chain, just so I can steal that ring. Now, if you don't have chain like this to work with and you would like to recreate this project with your own supplies, I will take a second and show you some of the things that I pulled out of my stash when I started to design this project. You can use pretty much anything that your eyeglass stem, what do we call that? The little part on the eyeglasses, anything that it will slide in and out of easily. So if you have a really pretty toggle clasp, you can use the open side of a toggle set, and just check if your eyeglasses will slide in it. That can be your ring for the necklace. So I had that I was looking at. I also had these heart connectors, so like I could use the smaller heart to attach to the necklace part and use this larger open heart. My eyeglasses fit through there. Also, I had 2 of these bead frames left over, and that could make a really pretty ring to connect your eyeglasses to. And of course, like decorative rings that you have in your stash, I had some little gold twisted decorative rings. So when you go through your supplies to pull things for a project like this, think outside the box. It doesn't necessarily have to be a ring. It could be something else that's not really meant for what we're doing with it. So what I plan to do here is I have 2 little scraps. These were left over from a beaded chain that I make. This is 20 gauge wire, and I'm going to bring in my 1-step looper and just create a simple loop on the end of both of these pieces of wire. I have recently done a lot of demonstrations on using this 1-step looper, so I am going to go rather quickly through this bit. And I can link one of those videos below where I've used this tool, like to make a beaded chain, if you're interested in trying this tool, or if you have it and you're not having success with it. But for today, I'm going to kind of zip through making my loops so that I can move on to my second project. So I have this little selection of gold-filled jump rings here. I won't need that right away. And what I want to do is, let me set that aside. What I want to do is connect my necklace here by these 2 rings. So let me get it connected, and I may go back and add another jump ring, so it's a double jump ring. I really like to do that, and especially on something that might get a little bit of stress for me, like pulling my eyeglasses in and out. But that's what I have. I've just kind of reconnected this chain with a jump ring, and I know it doesn't look like much yet, but it will. And now I just want to take these two eye pins that I made and create a little component. I have here, I think I'm going to be using this little magnetic clasp for my second piece, and these are some little 3mm, I don't know how well you can see them. I know this little nut dish makes a glare, but these are little 3mm gold filled spacer beads, and I can link those below too. I also have some 5mm ones here, and I'm just going to play a little bit with a design. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to shift gears here and put my little spacer beads on first, and then a navette, not a navette. The navettes are the ones with the diamond, sort of a diamond shape. These are ovals, oblong ovals, I think, or long ovals they're called. So what this is going to end up being, I think, is an articulated kind of a drop, which, you know, for me, movement in jewelry is always a great thing. So now I'm just going to get a second loop in here, and it's a little bit tricky to hold on to everything, and you know, you can totally make simple loops with your pliers if you like it. Now just take my pliers and make sure everything, if anything did get misaligned, that one looks perfect. This one looks a little bit crooked, not too badly. Okay, let's see how that's going to work. Oh, what a pretty little component. So my plan is to attach these simple loops to that jump ring that I just added. Lots of chain here today. So get the first one on, and then the next one. Right onto that ring. And this is, I mean, as always, we want our loops to be closed really well. Work hard a little bit, but especially on this, because I'll be pulling my eyeglasses on and off of this hanging part, this drop. So, and another little trick that you can do, if you have a component like this and it's not hanging right, you can take your plier and just give it a slight bend toward the inside, just ever so slight, just a slight bend, and it just makes everything hang so much more nicely. So I'm going to leave that until I make my next component. I'm going to do that same thing. So I'm going to repeat that same thing with this carrier bead and attach it, and then I have another one of those little to hold crystals, and I'm going to recreate that component 2 more times and attach everything and see how it hangs. Oh, that is beautiful. I love that. Okay, I'm going to make another one of those. And check and see how everything is hanging. Let me put my pliers down. Look at that. That is stunning. How gorgeous. I mean, I already had a beautiful chain, but this is really, really pretty. So I'm just going to make some little adjustments here to my component. Just make sure that it's hanging correctly. And just to kind of grabbed a hold of my two loops, bend it in with two pairs of pliers, and I'm just giving it a slight bend toward the middle, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side, just to make sure that everything hangs really straight. Okay, it looks pretty good. And now I'm going to take another one of those large jump rings that I used at the top and my ring. I just pulled back from the camera a little bit just to pull this over my head and try it on and make sure that everything was hanging the way that I wanted it to, and it is absolutely beautiful. I just love it. I mean, I started with a beautiful chain to begin with, but this is really beautiful. So I'm going to take two of my smaller size gold filled jump rings and just a double jump ring method here. It should fit. Let me try it on this link that I've cut from my chain. And so, you know, this little ring is going to be what holds my eyeglass stem. And I love this chain because the embossing, the texturing is on both sides, so as this spins around, it's still going to look great. And you know what? I'm looking, I wonder if I could even do a triple jump ring here. Sometimes I really like to do that. I mean, it looks great. There's like this architecture to it, but also where there's going to be a little bit of tugging and pulling on this as I take my eyeglasses in and out. Oh, the two look really nice. You know what? All you can do is try. I'm going to attach a third jump ring and just see if I like it and see if everything still hangs beautifully the way it is now. Looks like it will. Just to add a little bit of thickness and just kind of substantiate that final loop. Let's see. Oh yeah, that looks great. That looks beautiful. So this is what I have. My little stem of my eyeglass will go right through there and hang around my neck like that. So all I have left to do now is make that last cut on the back, because I actually could pull this over my head, and I wonder if I want to do that. Let me just see if I want to not even bother having a clasp. And I guess it is always nice to be able to open and close the back of the necklace. I guess I will, but honestly, I made it the length, and I can kind of tell you the chain part is about 28 inches on this. So, but I'll go ahead and add the clasp. I have this beautiful gold filled clasp here, but this is a piece that I could actually have just pulled it over my head every time. But I'm going to go ahead and save that ring again and pull this in, and I'm just going to make sure everything is straight. Just straighten my chain, although this, with all these open loops, this chain, you know, is definitely going to move around, but I'll at least start with a nice straight connection. I love how this chain alternated between round oval. It's really pretty. Let me make sure this ring is closed really, really well, because that's actually going to be the ring that my lobster claw clasps onto. That is beautiful. That looks great. It has a really nice finish. This is beautiful. What a stunning eyeglass holder. I love it. So I will put this on Gabriella Eva as soon as I'm finished filming with my little eyeglasses on, And I'm going to make this second necklace. I'm really excited about this one because I actually don't wear glasses, but I do like magnifiers when I am bead shopping. And this time at this show, I would like to buy some really high quality pearls. So I have this adorable little magnifying glass, and it actually works. Let me just take, like, I don't know if the camera will show you, but it actually really, it magnifies. I mean, it's a beautiful decorative piece, but I was thinking for a bead show how perfect this would be around my neck. And I have these glass beads, and these are from the Bargain Beadbox sister website, Beadbox Bargains, and they're just a beautiful glass with an Aurora Borealis finish on them. I think these look like they are 4mm. Let me see if I have the package here. This is the code, Glass 1052 GLS, and it's the sister site to Bargain Beadbox. And I don't take the time to check, and I don't know how long I've had these in my stash, but I had 2 strands of them, and I think it's going to give me the length that I want with a little bit of space. And I am going to sort of repeat the same idea that I had here with some of these little 2-hole brick beads that also have that AB finish on them. I have a magnetic clasp out for this one, and I think I'm going to be using some more of these little gold-filled spacer beads. And maybe I want to put one other thing in to lengthen this. Let me just see. This is, well, this is about 12 inches long, so that would give me a 24-inch necklace. And for a magnifying glass hanging on the end, that is not, it's not real long. But I think I'm going to create the same little design that I did in this one with the 2-hole beads, only this time I'm going to use my Soft Flex bone colored beading wire. This is my favorite beading wire. I just don't know how you can live without Soft Flex if you make jewelry. This is a medium diameter. It is a 26-pound strength, and it is 49 strands in this with this little coating on it, and it's super flexible. You can even tie knots in this beading wire. So I have cut a little length here, and I think I cut about 28 inches. Yes, I did. I cut about 28 inches, and I wanted, again, to keep this totally neutral, go with anything, because my idea is to be able to layer other necklaces that are not utilitarian with this piece, but still have the magnifying glass for looking at beads, reading price tags, and that kind of thing without, you know, I may, so I'll have 2 choices. I may go ahead and wear this with my eyeglasses. I don't know what I'm wearing yet, and I'm meeting a lot of my friends that make jewelry in the Orlando area. Looks like there may be about 6 of us, and I plan to do a video, and we like to go to lunch after the show. So you know, it's a little bit of an event, so I'll have 2 choices of what to do as far as magnifying. So I think what I'm going to do is create a little pattern with these beads. I will be using that. Let me just move these out of the way and cut open the beads. You can't make anything until you cut open the beads from their little plastic strands. I am so excited about having a couple of new pieces of jewelry to wear to the bead show. I always meet a lot of people. I find new companies. I pick up a lot of business cards. It's just really great. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to count these beads, but I am going to separate them so that I'm hoping that I'm going to have the same amount on both sides. So I'm just going to keep 2 separate little piles of beads, and this is largely just a stringing project. I will show you how I plan to get it started, creating another little center focal drop leading down into this beautiful little magnifying glass. This is a craft store item, by the way. I have not been able to find these anywhere except the craft store, and they also have a silver one that's an owl. So, you know, maybe if you're in America, hit your craft store. It's a Hobby Lobby item. And so I think what I'm going to do is take my bead stringing wire and create a little pattern here where I load on one of these 2-hole brick beads. These are so cool, and I just love how they separate the wires. So I just loaded both of them on, and I'm also going to add in a spacer bead because I already know that my 2-hole crystal bead, the hole is wider than this. So a little bit of my bead stringing material is going to show, but that's okay. I really like the look. So I'm just going to come down here and kind of make a little loop, and that's where I'm going to add in this. So let's see. Let me think this through. Do I want, I could fill this with beads, fill this loop with beads, or I can let my soft flex, the color of my soft flex show. You can also pull this together and crimp it and then layer these on, but I think that I am just going to have a little loop like that. And then my next bead will be my little 2-hole long oval bead. I always want to call this a navette, but the navette has the sort of pointed ends like a diamond, and I'm just going to feed that down. And here's where you'll see that the spaces are a little bit, it's not too bad actually. That little bead kind of helped. The holes don't line up exactly right, the 2 holes on the little AB glass bead and the crystal bead. So these little tiny spacer beads, and you could use a 6/0 or an 8/0 seed bead for this too. If you don't have like a little metal spacer bead, that works really well. So here's where I noticed that my holes were a little bit misaligned, but I still think I can make this work. And it's another reason for using the soft flex beading wire, because if it shows here and there, and even on these clear beads, I like seeing the wire through it. And if you're doing a color, like I want to keep this really neutral, and I want this to be a, you know, something that I can layer with other necklaces, but it's really pretty. Oh, look at this little drop that this created. Look at that. It's so beautiful. I really love it. So, and what I like about these little 2-hole beads also is that now I can string each side of the necklace, and the little spaces here just start me off perfectly. So I think that I am going to start off with one of these little gold spacer beads. And then all I'm going to do is come up with some kind of a pattern. I may even pause and go into my stash and just find another little golden or champagne colored crystal to mix in with the clear beads. I don't know, you know, once I get started stringing and I figure out what I'm doing, I know instantly, and then it's just a simple stringing project. So what I had thought I would do is 3 beads and then a spacer, and then 3 beads and then a spacer. And I'm just going to keep these 2 separated. So hopefully when I get to the end of both sides, the beads, you know, gave me enough length and I had enough for both sides. I have finished stringing and I love it. I just think it's beautiful, and again, extremely neutral. I could really mix this with a silver piece, layer in some other necklaces. I mean, I just love the way that it looks. So I went ahead and crimped one side using my magical crimping plier, and I'm going to do the other side with you guys. And I get a lot of questions about the magical crimping plier. If you've never seen this before, instead of having all the different divots it has just one little hole or well in it, and it turns a number 2 crimp tube into a little tiny bead, as you see here. So it's really small. You don't need to do a crimp cover. You can if you need to make this a little bit bigger, but you don't need a crimp cover. I mean, that was a little 2mm tube, and now it's a tiny little bead. And so the same thing is going to happen on this side. And I have found that I think my favorite little crimp tubes, because they are gold filled, is the Softflex company's crimp tubes, and you can get like the silver ones. They have copper, they have gold. Those I love. But also with the Magic Crimping Plier, I have found that the Beadalon number 2 crimp tubes work as well. So that is actually what I did on this one without an extra dummy wire going through the cylinder. I got a really beautiful crimp. But also Beadsmith, that makes the Magical Crimping Plier, they actually have this little 4-pack that is ideal for the magical crimping tool, and so you get all the colors, the gunmetal, copper, silver, and gold. So I can put these links in the description box underneath the video, because I do get a lot of questions about the crimp tubes, and other sizes don't work with the Magical Crimping Plier, and also the cheap ones with the really thin walls, they don't work either. So I'll leave those links for you all. So what we're going to do on this side, I have my second little gold number 2 crimp tube over here, and I'm just going to put it down on that beading wire and make my loop and go back down through the crimp tube. And I want to go back through a few beads. This doesn't do anything really to add strength to the piece. What it does, however, is it gives you a little bit of leverage for pulling to match up your loop with the other side. And also, I just think it looks nicer to trim away your cut end of wire down away from where your clasp will be. It sort of disappears a little bit better in the design. So you can see what I mean about leverage. I see my little end peeking through. I just pulled it back. Go again. But yeah, you'll see that in order to create your loop, and find that little end. There it is. You'll see that in order to create your loop and match it up to the other side, get a hold of that, and it just gives you a little bit of leverage to be able to pull from down here. And so the first side is always the easiest. I save the hard side to do with you guys. Not that it's hard, but and on this piece it's really two-sided. So if you can see, I don't have my necklace super tight in a tight straight line. I have a bunch of little coils because I want it to be fluid. I want to be able to pick up my little magnifying glass once I attach it and look at things. And so on this side, I just want to have a look and like match up those loops. And this is also where Softflex is just so beautiful for stringing material, because I don't feel that I need to cover this loop with seed beads and disguise it. You know, it's just beautiful. I can just let it hang out just like that and do my crimp, and you know, it's just a really beautiful stringing material. So I have my loops pretty much the same. I have everything really loose before I crimp. I just want to have these little coils down here, and you know, I want to just feel that I don't have any huge gaps, but I do want, you know, my beads to be able to move. It's like a sweet spot, no gaps, but not too tight. And then I'm just going to take this magical crimping tool and just get that first little bead a little bit out of the way and just fit the tube. You have to just take your time and fit it into the center of the tool, and then just close it all the way so you don't see any gaps. And when you take it out, you have pinched the 4 corners of that tube. It kind of resembles a little ravioli. And then you're just going to turn it like 90 degrees and fit your ravioli back into that little well and close the tool again. And now you just gently open and close the pliers and just keep going around and around, like, you know, 7-8 times, really until you just don't feel any resistance. You just feel like you're just closing and opening the tool on air. It's not doing anything. And when you take that away, it turned that tube into this perfect little bead. It's such a lovely finish. I really, really love to crimp this way. And then, as I said, I can cut my little tail of wire down here where it will disappear into this design, and it leaves my finish where my clasp is going to go just looking professional and beautiful. And so like the mechanics of the necklace are a mystery to somebody who didn't make it, because they can't really find where anything begins and ends, and I just love that. So this is just so beautiful. It has really a shimmer to it and a little bit of sparkle, but it is totally neutral for any outfit or for layering on other necklaces. So all I need to do now is just open the jump ring that already came on my little magnifying glass, find the opening, and just attach it right to my beautiful little drop that I created with those 2-hole beads. And there is a front and a back now to the magnifying glass and to my necklace, so I just want to pay attention to that and close that jump ring into a perfect circle. I tend to run my finger over things to make sure nothing is sharp. Oh my, I just love this. And after this little clasp is added on, sorry, I have to pull out of the camera just for a second to straighten everything. After my little clasp is added on, I'm back to those little gold-filled jump rings that I have used on both projects. And because I'm using a magnetic clasp, there's no right or left. Just simply attach it. And then I just have to decide if I want to wear one of these or both of these to the bead show next week. It's called the Intergalactic Bead Show, and it is just, it's a small show, but it's got so many quality booths there. Lampwork artist that I love, she lives here in not too far from me on the other side of Orlando, and there was a beautiful Baroque pearl dealer last year when I went, and a lot of gem dealers. For a small show, it just has a lot of beautiful things to look at. So, and then I get to have lunch with my friends, so that's always fun. So this little piece is done, magnetic clasp. The only thing that's on this piece that's not gold filled is this and my little magnifying glass. So you probably know my trick if you've been on my channel. I got a fresh new bottle of my Permalac clear coating, and I can link this below. I love this stuff. Anything at all, like I'll just show you my bracelet that I'm wearing. Anything at all that's not gold filled or that's just like a fun fashion jewelry metal or base metal, like these little connector bars, they have all received a little brushing of the Permalac. It dries very quickly. I even did this little tiara cast toggle clasp on this bracelet. Dries very quickly, and then my piece will last for years and years. I don't have to worry about tarnish, and you can't see it on the piece. So it's super easy to do. My magnifying glass and my little magnetic clasp as soon as I stop filming. And now I have to take these two pieces over to Gabriella Eva and try them on her and let you see how they look and how they layer. I may even wear these together, and then I would have my eyeglasses hanging from this piece and my magnifying glass. It's decorative, you know, but it's also functional. So like, this is just so much fun. I can't wait to wear these at the bead show. I might have to make some earrings to go with them. So I hope this gave you a little inspiration, a little tidbit that you can use in your own work tables, or that you picked up a technique during my video. And I thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, it is a great way to support my work. It doesn't obligate you to anything. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps the channel. And also, if you haven't sent me pictures of your little furry-faced assistants that are around your jewelry work tables, I would love to have them. I'll put my email in the description box below as well. I'm trying to put those at the end of my videos here and there. I hope everyone is safe and well and having fun on their beading mats, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, jewelry making friends.